I was looking at something a few minutes ago, and I was pretty enthralled with it, and I kind of lost track of my depth perception as far as depth goes. I mean, how far do I sit down before I fall down? And I was sitting down into the Judas director's chair. There it is. It says Judas. You might see that, but you realize it may be falling down, but it does say director there. It's a nice chair. And it's the best chair I've ever owned. It takes all my weight at the heaviest I've ever been. It doesn't normally let me fall, but I sat down and I plopped into it and it went right over backwards. And there are a couple of totes full of propaganda and props and such in there. The things I talk about, you never see. But it's like the Ark of the Covenant. If you did, that'd be the end of you. Never mind the yak in the distance. I fell over it all. And one of those totes was actually, I tried to make it sound good and all, but it was a cooler that had some thawed ice, you know, what they call water. And so it tipped over. And it went collapse, collapse, collapse. I fall down all the time. Nobody has to know how much. If you fall down and get hurt, that's when it's a problem. It's like alcoholism. Unless it causes problems in your life, you don't have an alcohol problem. And at some point I thought about it as I collapsed and shit went all over and there's water going across the studio floor. I'm like, that's gonna be okay. It'll evaporate. Won't need Serve Pro for this one. But the thing is, as you fall down and all the clatter and everything just becomes common at some point, nobody's going to check on you, which is fine because they expect at some point you'll scream, help, but you're not going to ask for help. You're not going to call for help. You're not going to cry in your dying moments asking for help. You're just going to die quietly. So as you're dying quietly, you're sitting there thinking, maybe somebody should have checked on me. And for the first time ever, they don't. And for the first time ever, you feel free, but at the same time, vulnerable. Oh, I mean, you know, it couldn't be the worst thing in the world if you had a fucking engine block on your neck, as long as somebody got to you in time. It couldn't be the worst thing in the world. There's something worse than somebody getting to you on time. And so I said, wow, that was a close one. And nobody noticed. And I cleared up everything and put it back in order. And then Victoria came out. She didn't ask about the clatter because she was watching something about Ozzy in there. I think it's Ozzy and Lemmy together. I should have been in there long ago. But so she didn't hear it, but she looked and she happened to notice There's water on the floor. I didn't do that. And I don't have her tied up behind me. Normally, things are pretty well balanced around here. But she says, what happened? I said, something fell over. And all I'm saying is, this is how easy it is to live in a lie. Nobody has to know how much trouble you're in on a day-to-day basis. You just lie to them and agree with them and comply with their beliefs because you believe if you keep doing what you're supposed to, you'll do as well as they do. They don't want that. You don't want to be a liar on a day-to-day basis. You don't want to be that. You don't want to have to defend everything you repeat. Not what you say, what you repeat. When you say what somebody else said, now you have to argue for them. You don't want to live like somebody who's just trying to stay away from the truth all the time. I guess what I did falling down and making nothing of it to Victoria is what you can call a little white lie. It's the only way you get away with it.